So please stay there. I want to hear your comments. See people have some pretty interesting comments like gas prices, works in a refinery, wants to talk about the economy. That's Wild Man. Blake wants to talk about the Paris shooting. Truth Raider wants to talk about hacking and 9/11. Blake wants to talk about, Bobby wants to talk about collapse of the dollar. That's all coming up. But finishing up with questions about Paris, when you say Muslims didn't do it, I would agree the West has financed the takeover of regions, giving the weapons to radical jihadis that do come out of Saudi Arabia. They're allowing these people to fly back and forth out of the West. They're recruiting Western terror armies to now attack us to complete the police state takeover. That's all clear. But are you saying from your research, you're a smart guy. I mean, Muttalib wanted to call you in the trial until they blocked it. We shouldn't forget that. And what you said got confirmed in Congress. So I know you're an accurate guy, but your gut really tells you these guys may not have even been involved, or what are you saying?
No, I want to be really clear on it because it's kind of complicated how I see these going down. I see that the U.S. and or Israel, however you want to take it, most of the plots I think have been CIA plots. This particular plot I think is a Mossad plot. I can get into why if you want me to, but anyway, I think what they're doing, they're taking these stupid, uneducated Muslims, they're handpicking some, and they're having undercover CIA, Mossad agents, whoever, radicalize them in Europe, believing that the undercover agents are actually Al-Qaeda, ISIS, whoever. And they're taking them in these camps, whatever you want to call them. They're having them make videos. And when the time comes that they're needed to be a patsy, then all of a sudden they get a call from bin Laden, al-Awlaki, whoever the most holiest CIA agent would be at that time, to demand that they go to do their mission. And then they handpick whichever ones, best fit that particular mission.
And by the way, we know that's what they've done in the past with Hassan, the underwear bomber, the rest of them. So you're absolutely right, and I believe that's what went on.
So it's not completely accurate to say Muslims aren't involved. They do carry out the attacks. Some of them, or at least parts of them, are real, not all of them. But to say the Muslims are doing the attacks is not correct, because without training, financing, planning of the events, the inside information, none of these events would take place.
They're the useful idiots that are dumb enough to carry it out.
Yes, that's all they are. But it's not completely correct to say Muslims aren't involved, because they are. But without that helping hand, there would be none of these attacks.
Sure. Well, no, I totally agree with your analysis, and that's pretty much what I see going on here. I don't.
Right.
I mean, I know I've seen UPI and AP and Jerusalem Post headlines that Israel created fake al-Qaeda groups in 1992 to counter Hamas, and that's on record that Israel has staged false bombings on itself. That's not me. That's the Jerusalem Post and Haaretz. So I don't put it past Israel or elements of it to get sympathy, just like a black dorm might burn a cross out front to get, extra money or something. I get people doing things for sympathy, people wounding themselves. It's very common in psychology. How do you say it's CIA or Mossad?
This one, I think, is Mossad, and here's why. Okay, so you have the France vote to recognize Palestine as a state, which allows them to go into the International Criminal Court now and bring proceedings against Israel. Now, before that vote, Netanyahu threatened France, saying if they voted for this, there would be grave consequences. So let's think about what grave consequences from Israel to France would be. Well, obviously, they're not going to go bomb France. They're not that open about it. They would do something via the Mossad. So, if I threaten your family, Alex, and say if you take a particular action, and then you do that, and then 12 members of your family end up dead shortly thereafter, who are the police going to come look after? Me. I'll be suspect number one.
Stay there. Keep rolling this out. It's intriguing. Kurt Haskell, a lawyer, and a patriot, smart guy, helped blow the underwear bombing wide open, literally, is our guest right now. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Every year we make resolutions to lose weight and get in shape. And the truth is, it's hard, even with diet and exercise, because of toxic food in our environment that is stressing our bodies more than ever before. Working with experts in nutrition and biochemistry, I found that super high-quality nutraceuticals, in addition to my diet and exercise, were the answers that synergistically worked. I could see the drastic changes every day with the amount of weight I've lost, my increased stamina, and more of a twinkle in my eye. That's why we are now so excited to launch the InfoWars Life Resolution Pack, combining 3 essential formulations: oxygen-based cleanser Oxy Powder, the Secret 12 bioavailable vitamin B12, and your choice of super female or super male vitality. Now all available at a discounted price to you and your family to bring in the new year and make 2015 a true success. That's InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. 2015 is the year to do it, and it all starts at InfoWarsLife.com.
You are listening to an Infowars.com frontline report. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
We're just stating facts here. Kurt witnessed the CIA put the drug Mutalib on the plane so a firecracker went off in his pants so they could put naked body scanners in the airports and train us to be slaves. It later came out in Congress. A double, triple agent of the CIA, Anwar al-Awlaki, handles almost every one of these terrorists. And they're allowed to travel even when they're on no-fly list. It's the same story over and over again. The motive by totalitarians in government, by despotic pushers, is to allow these attacks to take place and to stir them up. And they usually find the same narcissistic, egomaniac, low IQ dum-dums to do it, just like the FBI's been caught, the New York Times has reported on it, hatching almost every major terror plot, sometimes with people with 70 and 75 IQs, mentally retarded people. Remember the FBI famously, it's got to be like 10 years ago, it was 9 years ago, 2006, got a bunch of black street kids who were homeless, and 20 down to about 16, who were Christians. They were pothead Rastafarians. They dealt pot. And for a year and a half, the FBI got them a warehouse, gave them hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some cases a month, all the weed they could smoke, all the beer, big screen TVs, and had a fake Rastafarian lead them and say, we must convert to Islam or I won't give you more money and more weed, and we must blow up the FBI building in Miami. And the news was like, a virtual army to take down America and destroy everything. Well, it's been, and then it came out in court. They could not tie their shoelaces. And a bunch of them were on welfare and were rated as mentally retarded. And the same story repeats time and time again. The guys that drove the truck bomb in '93, and I had the former federal informant Ahmad Salam on earlier this week, one of them had a 71 IQ and one had an 80 IQ. 70 is mentally retarded. So you need to understand, now the guys I saw doing the shooting did not look stupid. So I don't know what's going on. I just cannot believe how bold all this is. But look how everything's rolling out, how the PR is all prepared. When you have a terror attack and they don't have a bunch of legislation ready, and there's not a big push, sometimes it's a real attack. But when it's all ready to go and you see the rollout, that's the big sign for me. So you'd gotten up to the point of talking about how they recruit them, how they set them up, how they use Yemen and other areas captured in Syria as training grounds. They have these handlers. That's on record. They're allowed to fly even when they're on no-fly list because other good agencies and subgroups identify them and put them on lists. And then the higher-ups are like, oh, no, let them travel. Please continue. And then I want to talk about why you decided to evacuate the United States and how you're liking Costa Rica and some of your views on the world. Kurt Haskell, again, survivor of the underwear bombing and blew the whistle on it with his wife, also a lawyer. Go ahead.
Sure. So I've given the motive for Mossad to do this. Now, I'll give you the evidence that I think shows that they did it. So first of all, we have the dropped ID card pointing to a Muslim doing this, which I think is nonsense. Okay, but along with the ID card, various evidence used in the shooting was there that they allegedly used to pick DNA off of, and within a couple hours they run it through a DNA database, and now they have names and pictures of all three suspects within a couple hours they're putting on TV. Utterly nonsense. But where did we see this before? We saw it on 9/11. But the reason for that was that there was a very quick need to point the finger away from Israel because, what I said earlier, because of the vote that directly points the finger to Israel as being the most likely perpetrator of this attack. So we have the immediate need to identify Muslims and show their pictures. Okay. Next, we have Kulalabi. Now, there's no evidence that I've seen anywhere that shows Kulalabi involved in the shooting whatsoever. The third guy, he's the black guy, you know, then there's the two Kouachi brothers, but all the videos of the shooting only show two guys. So what does Kulalabi attack? Well, he goes into a kosher grocery store, of course. Okay. Completely what I would expect. While he's in there, he does two miraculous things. He talks to a radio station, hangs up the phone, but he doesn't hang it up all the way. So the radio station can listen to what he's saying there. And then he has a phone call with CNN. Are you kidding me? CNN, while he's holding hostages. So it's utterly unbelievable. But what he says is he's a co-conspirator with the Kouachi brothers, and he's part of ISIS. So what this does is this ties in Kulalabi, attack on Jewish people, kosher store, with the two brothers that allegedly perpetrated Charlie Hebdo. So what we have, it's a subliminal message here. Israel did not do this. Here are the Muslims, and Israel would not kill poor people. The kosher grocery store that Kulalabi is alleged to do. And how do we find out the evidence that Kulalabi is tied to the Kouachi brothers? Why, it's his phone call with CNN. So, which brings into question the where we've seen this before, the fake phone calls on 9/11. So we have another fake phone call here to give evidence tying him in where he does not otherwise belong. So that is the extra oomph, if you will, that Israel did not do this because 4 Jewish people died in the attack at a kosher store. So there was a little extra push needed here. First, you point the immediate finger away from Israel, and then you give it the little extra push of 4 Jewish people dying with a guy who wasn't involved in the shooting in any way except by this phone call with CNN where he admits he's a co-conspirator. So that's how I tie in the Mossad in this one. I think that's most likely. And then the last part of it is you have Netanyahu kind of bringing himself center stage in France, appearing at a synagogue where all the members sing